Have you ever thought about what you would tell your younger self? Well, what if the only way to save your future was to kill your past? Today, we are cracking open the brilliant, brutal, and mind-bending logic of the movie Looper. We're going to untangle its paradoxes and figure out how you break a cycle that seems absolutely unbreakable.
I mean, really think about that for a second. This question, it isn't just some late-night philosophical puzzle. In the world of Looper, it is literally the job description. Your retirement plan comes with a shotgun, and your final target is you. Let's dig into how this absolutely insane system works.
Okay, so first things first, we gotta understand the rules of this world. We're in the year 2044. Time travel, it hasn't been invented yet. But flash forward 30 years into the future, and it has. And of course, as soon as it's invented, it's immediately outlawed. But that just creates a very unique business opportunity for organized crime. See, if you're a mob boss in the year 2074, getting rid of a body is basically impossible. Everyone's got tracking tech. Forensics are insane. It's a real headache. So what do? You find a loophole. You kidnap your target, send them back 30 years, hooded, bound, and right to the feet of a hitman called a looper. The job seems simple, right? But that name, Looper, yeah, that hints at the one terrifying catch.
And listen, the perks are great. The pay is fantastic. You get these heavy stacks of silver bars for every hit. Your boss, this guy named Abe, he's from the future, so he knows how to keep things running smoothly. But there is one tiny, non-negotiable part of the contract. One day, the person who appears in front of you is you, 30 years older. And to retire with all that silver, you have to pull the trigger. You have to close your own loop. No loose ends.
So, what happens if you don't? What happens when you break that one single cardinal rule? What if you see yourself and you just can't do it? Well, that's when you create a problem, a paradox. And the consequences are, let's just say, immediate and really horrifying. We actually find out pretty quick, thanks to Joe's friend, Seth. His big day comes, the target appears, and he sees his own face. It's him. He panics, he hesitates, and that's all it takes. His older self gets away, he lets his loop run, and for a looper, that is the worst crime you can possibly commit. And this is where the movie's logic gets just unbelievably nightmarish. To get old Seth to come out of hiding, the mob grabs young Seth, and anything they do to him in the present happens to his older self in real time. They carve a message on his arm, and boom, it appears as a scar on old Seth's arm miles away. They start removing pieces of him, and his future self just falls apart. It's this gruesome, real-time torture device that sends a crystal-clear message: you never let your loop run.
So you can imagine what's going through our main character Joe's head when, not long after this whole fiasco, his own retirement day comes. The target shows up, and it's him. Older, angrier. He hesitates for just a fraction of a second, but that's all it takes. Old Joe knocks him out and escapes. And just like that, young Joe is now a hunted man.
But you gotta ask, right? Why would old Joe risk all of this? Why go through the horror of coming back just to survive a little longer? Well, turns out it's not just about self-preservation. He's on a mission, and it's all tied to a tragedy in the future that he is absolutely desperate to prevent. You see, in the original version of events, Joe did everything right. He closed his loop, took his money, moved away, fell in love, got married, he built a life. But that life got shattered by a mysterious and powerful new crime boss called the Rainmaker, who started closing all the old loops. When they came for Joe, his wife was killed in the chaos. So old Joe isn't just trying to survive. No, he's come back for revenge. He's here to rewrite history.
So, what we have now is basically a paradox with a shotgun. Two versions of the same man, totally at war with each other in the same timeline. Young Joe just wants to survive the present, which means he has to kill his older self. But old Joe has a much bigger plan. Find the Rainmaker when he was just a kid and kill him, erasing that terrible future. Their goals are completely incompatible. They literally cannot both get what they want.
And old Joe is not messing around. He's got a lead, a list of 3 possible kids who could grow up to become the Rainmaker. And his ruthless, single-minded hunt to eliminate all 3 of them is what brings both versions of Joe to the exact same, isolated place. Meanwhile, young Joe is just trying to lay low and not get killed by his old employers. He finds refuge at this remote farmhouse with a woman named Sarah and her little boy, Sid. But then he sees it, the map old Joe was using, and he gets that sinking feeling when he realizes this farm is one of the 3 locations on that map. This little kid could be the person his future self is here to murder.
Oh yeah, there's one other thing about this world I should mention. About 10% of people have this minor telekinetic ability. It's called TK. For most, it's nothing. Like they can float a coin, it's a neat party trick. But when one of the mob's enforcers tracks Joe to the farm, we learn that what Sid has is no party trick. It is something else entirely.
Because when the boy gets cornered and scared, something just erupts from him. It's not floating a coin. It is a massive, uncontrolled wave of telekinetic force that just rips the hitman apart. And in that horrifying moment, the truth is unavoidable. This powerful, terrified little boy is the future Rainmaker.
So now all the pieces are on the board. Everything is converging on this one moment at this one farmhouse. And it's here, in a field of sugarcane, that young Joe has an incredible, horrifying realization about the true nature of the loop that he's been trapped in this whole time.
The final confrontation. Old Joe corners Sid in the field. He raises his gun, ready to kill this child to save the woman he loves. But Sid's mother, Sarah, puts herself right in front of her son, becoming a human shield. And young Joe, watching all of this unfold from a distance, suddenly understands everything. It all just clicks.
This is it. This is the whole movie, right here in this one question. Think about it. If old Joe pulls that trigger, if he kills Sarzan to get to the boy, what does that act of violence actually create? It's a trap. A perfect, vicious circle. Old Joe's act of revenge doesn't stop the future he hates, it creates it. The unimaginable trauma of watching his mother get murdered in front of him is the very thing that will turn the scared, powerful kid into a cold, ruthless, vengeful crime lord. Old Joe isn't stopping the Rainmaker, he's making him. And young Joe sees this, but he's too far away. He can't get there in time to stop old Joe. He can't make the shot. But in that split second, he realizes there is another option, a different, more final way to end this before it happens again. He sees the whole timeline laid out. If old Joe kills Sarah, he creates the Rainmaker. The Rainmaker grows up and, one day, his men kill Joe's wife. That sends a vengeful old Joe back in time to kill Sarah. It never, ever ends. It's a snake eating its own tail, forever. Young Joe sees the only move left on the board. He knows what he has to do. The loop has to be closed. He raises his gun, not at his future self, but at his own chest. He pulls the trigger, and at that exact same instant, hundreds of feet away, old Joe just blinks out of existence, vanishes. By killing himself, young Joe erased the future that created old Joe. In one final, incredible act of sacrifice, he chose to end his own story just to give Sarah and Sid a chance at a better one. And that is the question the movie leaves you with, isn't it? By erasing himself, did Joe guarantee a good future? One where Sid grows up loved and never becomes that monster? Or did he just trade one known, terrible future for a completely new, unknown one? It's the ultimate sacrifice, because he and we will never, ever know the answer.